Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be giving you guys a walkthrough of Fix-It Grammar Level 2, which is Robin Hood. So we have used Fix-It Grammar for 2 years now. We did Level 1 and Level 2, or Year 1, Student Book 1 and Student Book 2. So we're really enjoying Fix-It Grammar. So my oldest, who was doing grammar in a co-op prior to us living in a camper, selling our house, the whole shebang, we covered grammar in our co-op, and we did a lot of sentence diagramming, and he absolutely despised it. And honestly, I had never done it in my education, so I really didn't know how to help him. It wasn't something that I was super familiar with. So when we decided to transition away from the co-op and to live in a camper, we knew that we needed to look for another curriculum that was going to cover grammar. And so one reason that we really like this is that we're able to label the sentence parts, all the different parts of speech and the different, we're really working on clauses this year and being able to determine if it is a main clause or an adverbial clause, or, the different clauses that you have. And we're not necessarily diagramming. And so my oldest did not like that. And so it was really kind of giving him a bad taste in his mouth for grammar just in general. So we've really appreciated that with Fix-It Grammar. One, it's super simple every day. It's one sentence where you are labeling the different parts of the sentence, then you are looking up one vocab word for the sentence, and then you're copying that corrected sentence in a notebook. So here is his notebook. We actually were able to carry it over from the prior year because we had so much paper left. But it's really simple. It's doable. We can finish our Fix-It Grammar in 10 to 15 minutes tops, but probably even under 10 if I'm available and ready to go over everything that he's had. Occasionally it might be a more difficult sentence, more complex topics that might take a little bit longer, but absolutely never more than 15 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to walk you through the week with Gabriel. So he's the one that's going through this, and so I'm just going to show you what it looks like each day so you have a little bit of a glimpse. But before I do, I just want to point out you do have a teacher's manual that goes through all of the things that you're covering. So this would cover the new topics for the week. So if a lot of times Gabriel can read that on his own. If he has trouble with something, I will discuss it with him. We'll kind of go over it. But at this point, he's been going over that on his own and kind of recognizing what's new that week. Then this is what mine looks like for each day. So I have the sentence that he's going to have, and then all of the labeling parts that he needs to include. And then it has all the talking points going through everything that we did. If he has a question, it usually has like some little tidbits over here for grammar lovers. And then it also has the definition for the vocab word, so I don't have to go look it up and check it if I'm unsure of what it is. But that's what I would cover for one day. And there's 4 sentences. It does operate on a 4-day school week, so there are 4 sentences. So we only do school for 4 days a week, so it works out really well for us. We have been known to actually tackle 2 sentences in one day where, something came up or we need to catch up or whatever the case has been. It's really easy actually to do 2 sentences in one day. So that's always an option as well. We're at the point where we're starting to, get ahead of ourselves. So we are taking it 1 sentence a day. But there are the next 2 days. So day 2, day 3, and then day 4. Same thing, same talking points. And then the very last section has what the student rewrite should look like in their notebook when they rewrite the corrected sentences and all of the different things. They're actually not including the labels, so they're not labeling the subject and the verb in this rewrite. It looks just like as if he were rewriting the story himself. So that's my book, and then each kid has their own book, and I can show you. This is what an untouched week looks like. He has the same directions on one side. I flip it over. There are his 4 sentences for the week. And then you can see just a finished product. This is what a finished product looks like after the week is over. So I have all the corrections, all the things that he missed, the things he got wrong crossed out. So that's what it looks like when we are completely done. But that's that's all that's in there. You do have some different flashcards in the back that you can use if necessary. Honestly, we've never pulled them out. He can just flip to the back and refer to them. So that's just a little overview of what we have when we do it. He does have a dictionary that he can use to define his vocab word. I do think that's important, being able to find things in the dictionary manually, not relying on, Siri or Google and just asking it all of a sudden to define something for you. So we do that old school. So let's go ahead and I will show you what it looks like a week's worth of Fix-It Grammar. All right, Gabriel, so why don't you go ahead and share with everyone, what do you actually need to do 1 week's worth of Fix-It Grammar?
A dictionary, a notebook, and my student book, and
Okay.
a pencil.
And a pencil. Very good. So if you open to this week's assignment, what do we have here? Okay, so why don't you show me? Okay, so we are split up into how many days?
4.
So we will do it for a 4-day, 1 sentence every day, generally. Sometimes we might break it up into 2 days on 1 day and do 2 weeks in 1 week. And on the other side, so that's your work that you're actually going to work on right now.
Mm-hmm.
Show me the other side.
This?
No, the other side of the notebook. And so we don't have any new concepts today. So you generally read over that, right, on your own.
Mm-hmm.
And go over any new concepts or anything that you need to focus on for the week's work. So what will you start with first then, if you're doing this?
Labeling all these.
Okay, so you're going to label them with all the things at the top that they've pointed out. Yep, all the different things you need to work on. And then what do we do with after that?
Go over it.
Yep, you and I will go over it. I'll correct it and point out anything that you've missed or that you need to work on, and then you fix it. And then after that, what do?
I write it and then look up the vocabulary word.
Okay, what's the vocabulary word?
Sturdily.
Yep, sturdily. So every day you have usually 1 to 2 bolded words that you look up. That's what the dictionary was for. And you have a section in your notebook where you write the definition of each word. All right, and then you also are rewriting this story. What's your story, or who's your story about in this one?
Robin Hood.
Robin Hood. So you are rewriting the story bit by bit as we go each day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right, you ready to get started?
Yep.
All right, let's go. So Gabriel just finished labeling all of his items that he believes that he needs to do. So once he's finished with that day, then I go ahead and I pull out the teacher's manual. I have it a sticky note stuck to where we go. And with this, I now have an answer key to everything that he needed to label for the sentence for today. So I will sit here and I usually circle. So if I show you a previous week's work here, you can see what I normally do here. I will check off anything that he's gotten correct, and then I'll circle anything that he's missed, and then he'll add it in as he goes over it again. And then obviously I cross out anything that he didn't need or was incorrect. Sometimes he's adding some things that they no longer track. For example, we are no longer tracking adjectives or adverbs, ly adverbs. So there are a couple of times that I cross those out because they're no longer looking for those. So what I'll do here is now I will check these things, and then we will sit and go over all of these different notes that they have, making sure he understands things that he missed and things that he does understand, just everything that he's labeled on his sentence. So now I have graded it and looked over it. You can see that we needed to indent here. So he's got the symbol for a new paragraph, and also missed a comma here, which is covered over here. What we'll go over as far as commas with adjectives, knowing when we use commas and when we don't. So we'll go over that again. And then here's actually an example. He just labeled an ly adverb that wasn't necessary. And then we also had to change the main clause to go all the way to the end of the sentence. So just a couple of things that now we will just kind of discuss. Basically, I'm going to be reading through this. If it's a question, he's going to answer me. I'm going to have him tell me the subjects and verbs, to have him tell me the prepositional phrases, and have him explain to me what the pattern is for a prepositional phrase. And then also just kind of outline to me the clauses and the sentence openers. So we're just going to go ahead and discuss these things now. All right, so now that we've gone over all this, we know that we need the comma there. Let's go over the different things. All right, is this a new topic, speaker, place, or time?
Yes.
Yeah, what is it?
New topic.
So we're leaving the speech. So if you looked at the end of last week, there was a quote. And so we're leaving his speech and going now on to his actions. The calm, mysterious giant then leaned sturdily upon his staff to await Robin. So now it's going to what he's doing and not what he's saying. You got the correct homophone. Then, what does that mean? Then.
You did it next.
And immediately following or immediately afterward. All right, now you missed the comma in between calm and mysterious, but why does it need a comma? What are the tests that it has?
They're interchangeable.
Okay, so yeah,
And
we
you
could
could put
change
and.
mysterious, calm giant, or we could have said and, because we can put and in between. We could say calm and mysterious giant, and they both make sense. So these are therefore coordinate adjectives, and it requires a comma in between them. And you got the period at the end of the sentence. So, all right, what are the subject verbs that we have in this sentence?
Giant leaned.
Yep. So to await is not a verb, but it is an infinitive, which is formed from a verb but does not function as one. And then we have the prepositional phrase.
Upon his staff.
Upon his staff. And how does it fit the pattern of a prepositional phrase?
Preposition, noun, no verb.
No verb. Good. All right, and then we have the clause and subject opener.
The main clause, number one.
Yep, number one, subject opener, main clause, which is the entire sentence. The calm, mysterious giant then leaned sturdily upon his staff to await Robin. So a pretty simple sentence. You need to define sturdily and put that in your notebook, and then I'll check that, and then you'll be done for today. Okay. All right, so now he is going to his list of vocabulary. So you can see this is his notebook where he has all the vocab words that he's done previously, and now he's going to look up for today's. Okay, I'll look over his vocab word. I'll put a little check on it to make sure that he did it and found the correct definition that makes sense for the story, so that one fits. And now he goes to his continuation of the story where he writes each sentence for each day. So making sure that he adds in the corrections that have been made, capitalizations, commas, quotations, different things like that, choosing the correct homophone, and then rewriting the sentence in his journal. Okay, so he has finished his sentence for today. Now, I actually will not grade this today. If I look at my teacher's manual, it actually gives the correct written paragraph at the end, and I will grade the entire paragraph at the end of the week, making sure that has, yes, so that entire week that's on this page, then I have the correct version on in the teacher's guide, and so I look at the entire week in one sitting. All right, you ready for day 2 of Fix It Grammar?
Yep.
All right, so what are we doing?
Basic grammar.
Obviously. And what are we starting with? You're going to start with the sentence for today?
Labeling everything.
Okay, and then what?
And then I'm gonna do my vocabulary word, and then I'm gonna write it.
Rewrite it. Okay, let's go. Okay, so now you've finished your work, and based on our timing, it took about 6 minutes for you to do your sentence and your definition. Now I'll grade over those things like I did yesterday, and we might have another 5 or so minutes to kind of go over the results of your work, but overall it's probably going to take us about 10 to 15 minutes of work to complete a day's assignment for Fix It Grammar. So, good job. All right, so I just finished grading Gabriel's day 2 sentence. We went over all the corrections and all the different talking points from the instruction guide, and now I'm going to hand it over to him, and he's going to take day 2 and copy it over into his notebook. That's a wrap for day 2. We'll do it again tomorrow. All right. So what are we doing today?
Day 3.
Day 3. Same routine?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So get to work. All right. So Gabriel finished doing all of his labeling. I used my guide to correct and make any adjustments that he had on his. Then I went ahead and checked his vocab word. They always have it in here so genially. They have pleasantly and cheerfully, so I can quickly double check that from him. So now at this point, now that he has some errors and things that we need to go over, we just kind of sit, he holds this and I hold this, and we discuss the different the things that need to be corrected and the different topics in the sentence. Okay, so this is the point at which Gabriel has his book, I have my book, and we're going to kind of discuss the different things, the different topics that are included in this sentence, discuss why he got things wrong, and maybe how he should have diagrammed it or labeled it differently. So we're just gonna, I usually just follow this as my guide, and we kind of discuss things as we go. We frequently will come across some things that we don't really understand, and there will actually be some notes in there that this is for advanced students or it is an advanced topic. So when we get to those and he has this glazed look over his eyes and I'm a little confused, we typically just skip those topics and kind of with the understanding that when we are ready for it, we'll be ready to understand it. We're just not there yet. So we're just going to go ahead and go through some of these key points, and you guys can see how it goes. All right, so here we are with Gabriel. We are doing day 4 of Fix It Grammar. He has his notebook and his Fix It Grammar book here. He's going to go ahead and label the last sentence of the week. Then I will do the same thing that I've done every other day. We'll grade it, we'll go over it. And then the last thing that I do is I will need to go over in his notebook where he has rewritten the page or the sentences for each week. I will go over the entire week's worth and make sure that there aren't any corrections in his rewrite of the week. So that's the last thing. So I'll go ahead and let him get to work. All right, so Gabriel finished his work. We went over everything in his workbook, and then he also, this is his own notebook where we keep all of his vocab as well as his rewrite. So he rewrote it, and then you can see in the instructor's or teacher's manual here, there is an example of the student rewrite for the week. So I basically just sit at that, make sure and go over what he has and make sure that he has included all the corrections and all the fixes. A lot of times he does not like when I write in his notebook, but if I can't find him, I go ahead and write in there. If he's around, I'll let him make the corrections immediately. You'll have to apologize for my kids screaming in the background. They are outside running around. So some of the things, one other thing that I wanted to point out, that I do all of that at the end of the week. I don't look at each sentence altogether, just because it has everything in a paragraph form at the end of the week. I just usually grade it all at once and make sure that he's included it all. So again, we went over all of these things in this instructor's manual, but one of the things I wanted to point out here was at the end of the week we kind of have this style section, and in this style it's basically asking the kids to point out their favorite strong verb, their favorite quality adjective, and their favorite ly adverb from the week. They give you options that they can choose from, and can kind of help gear them to finding, what are some strong verbs, what are quality adjectives, which is, if you do IEW, these things are not going to be new terms to you. So we do, obviously, Fix It Grammar and IEW are from the same company, and they work really heavily on making your writing interesting by adding strong verbs, quality adjectives, and ly adverbs. So this is just helping your kids point out and find those in the passage that they learned this week. So that was one more thing I just wanted to point out. All right, guys, so that's it. That is a week's worth of Fix It Grammar with Gabriel. Super easy, super short and sweet. Like I said, doesn't take any more than 10 to 15 minutes every day, and it's easy to kind of knock out. Usually he's just waiting on me to find some time in the day away from one of his other siblings in the schoolwork that I'm doing with them to be able to go over his sentence. He's usually waiting on me. So if you guys have any questions at all, as always, I'm happy to answer them. And until next time, guys, I hope you have a blessed day.